see the beard is coming back slowly. It is an absolutely gorgeous day. If you hear a little bit of a hum in the background, that is my silky smooth, not really, but 2.3-liter inline four from my old 1989 Volvo 740 that my son the other day declared was a better sounding engine than like a Mustang 5-liter. um, and that was pretty high praise. And I do like the sound; it's very mechanical. But that's not why you've tuned in. If you have, and you saw the title, I want to talk a little bit about situational ethics. So, since the attack on Israel this past weekend, I've had a couple conversations related to it, and I've also been following the talking heads talking about it. And one of the clear, I should say, the sides tend to take these positions. On the one side, you have people say, well, they just came in and they murdered people and they raped and they abducted people. And then on the other side, you'll hear them say, well, you have to understand the overall situation that's going on in the Middle East in order to understand the conflict. In other words, you're not seeing the forest through the trees. So you need to take a step back and look at the greater historical context of all that's going on. And that position, that second position, is what we would call situational ethics, at least in part. In other words, you have to understand the greater context in order to understand how to interpret and how to value what's going on now. However, in a biblical context, this does not work. Now, context is important in the Bible. So I'm going to be looking at on a Facebook Live soon some of John chapter 20 uh, and why context is important for interpretation. But in this particular case, context is not important. Why do I say that? Because God says, "Thou shalt not murder." So this is the taking of life, not in battle, not when you're, justly defending yourself in the context of battle. Otherwise, you take somebody's life on purpose and they've done nothing wrong to you, no crime, whatever, that is committing murder. God does not say, "Thou shalt murder" in this context or with this historical context. He simply says, "Thou shalt not murder." He also, and this is stated in the exposition of um, all of the laws that God gave to Moses. So, an exposition of what the Ten Commandments really means in a larger context in society is that there was prohibitions or laws against rape. It doesn't say you can rape if you've been oppressed as a people group for so many decades or centuries, or you had your land taken from you. Then it's okay to rape. No, he doesn't say that. There's no contextualizing of it except the words themselves. You cannot rape. You also don't have the right to violate somebody's independence and take them forcibly. You don't have a right to abduct someone. And again, that's exposited in the Levitical laws. So there's no context in which it is just okay to then take those people who are innocents, not your enemy combatants, and force them to be subject to you and taunt them and humiliate them and hold them for ransom. None whatsoever. So the sides I illustrated earlier, where many people have raised a grave and concern and utter dismay over the wanton murders, over the raping, and over the abduction of individuals from Israel. um, they are the correct ones. There is no moral equivalency. There is no contextualizing in the larger scheme of things. If Israel, or I should say Israelites, because these are individuals acting within a system, same thing with Hamas acting in the context of Palestinians. But if you have um, Israelites who have done the same thing, those in Israel, taking, murdering, abducting, raping Palestinians, then their action is equally wrong, not in some context. But now, a group called Hamas, a terrorist organization, has proclaimed war, is fighting war, and Israel is engaging in retaliatory battles to end the war. Um, that's a whole different discussion. But anyway, I just want to put a little bit of clarification on the context, because anybody that's arguing, well, you've got to understand the context of why they're doing this. It's the same argumentation we got when um, BLM rioters were largely just allowed to pillage and destroy and sometimes, yes, murder individuals. And you had talking heads say, well, you have to understand the context of their frustration. No, no, we don't. They don't have a right to destroy other people's property. They don't have a right to murder. I don't know if any rapes occurred, maybe. Lawlessness cannot be tolerated in that way just because you're feeling oppressed. It's the same kind of argumentation. This just happens to be a more extreme situation. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Hope you're doing well. Take care. God bless.